It's your career, no one else's, and we have to take ownership. If you really have a passion to play something that you're just not getting cast for because that's not in your casting bracket right now, make your own role. I'm very passionate about us creating our own work and keeping it here in Australia. I think at the moment there is a big mindset within drama schools that we train up our actors and then we export them to LA, to New York, to London. Our industry is not going to grow if we keep doing that because we're just sending our talent off. So as talent, as writers, as directors, whoever we are in the creative arts, it's about working together. And again, it comes back to that collaboration and that networking. Working together, okay, what can we make here in Australia? We're a wealthy country here. We're a wealthy country. So there are opportunities to get funding for various projects, whether that's through government, whether it's through corporate, whether it's through private individuals and things like that. And sometimes as well, we can't just do it like that. It will take years. And that's the way it is. I think we need to really connect with our theatre and film industries here in Australia and look at those other opportunities apart from main stage and apart from hugely funded projects. I think send your work into as many people as possible. If you're writing, even if you're acting, get together with some writers. Start working from the ground up and distribute your work, because it's great if we might have a phenomenal project, but if we're not letting anyone know about it, it's not going to go to those next levels. Create those opportunities. Anywhere that's a space we can perform. Anywhere that's a space. It can be a cafe, it can be a church hall, it can be anywhere. And we are in such a big country, geographically here, there are people all over the place who just aren't getting access to the performing arts that could. So there is nothing stopping us creating our own companies and going out there, going out to these regional spaces where perhaps there isn't that opportunity to see productions. Or, do a short film screening, get together a load of films and a load of people that have done it, and set those up as well. So I believe there's opportunities everywhere. I really do. Really, really do.
Okay, so you think the way to, improve the culture is to start at the grassroots level?
Absolutely, but do it. That's the thing. It's great talking about it, but people need to put that action into play, literally into play. Yeah. And that's the beauty of our art, though, is that we can do it anywhere. We literally can. We don't need a proscenium arch to be able to perform to someone. We really don't. We can talk about anything. We literally can talk about anything. If you live in a rural community, have you approached your local school about writing for something curriculum-based or something issue-based for them? Where are those stories coming from? They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
If we look forward, say 5 to 10 years, what would your best hope for, the arts in Australia be?
I would love to see every single actor working. Obviously. Yes, and being able to pay their rent from it. Look, I think less export. I think putting Australia on the world map in terms of performing arts, whether that's stage, screen, film. We are obviously starting to build a bigger film industry here. It would be glorious if people from the UK, LA, New York were coming to Australia to work, specifically to work in our art form here. And I think just having more going on in terms of what we can head out to our regions, because we do live in this massive, massive country, and there are people that are missing out at this point in time. So instead of pulling all those kind of actors and audiences away from their hometowns, let's take it to them. And setting up our own kind of organisations and companies that allows that to be facilitated.
Okay.
That'd be my dream. Yeah.
That sounds like a wonderful dream.
Yeah. And I think it's achievable. I think that's a really important thing. I think it is achievable. You just got to do it. It's literally just taking that action. I think art, there is no right or wrong. There can obviously be technical faults, like if there was a light right in front of my face, obviously that's a technical issue. But in terms of interpretation, that production and that performance has had a director and a creative team behind it who have had a particular vision. Now that might not correlate with someone else's vision, but that was their vision. And they have worked towards that. So in terms of right or wrong, I think it's very, very hard to judge art. Very, very hard. In the same way, judging a piece of music, judging a painting, you know, it's so personal. It's so personal, and it's based on our own experiences and our own what would we do as well, and that's where it can become a little bit personal, you know. So yeah, I think interpretation is the answer there. Is that okay? Maybe you just didn't see what the messaging was from that, or maybe you see this in a different way to how other people would. We obviously have to define social responsibility, and what does that mean? Does it mean that that as humans and as a society we need to create art? My answer to that would be yes. I think it's fundamentally something human there that needs to be expressed. Again, it depends on where we're coming from it, because you know there's different schools of thought that maybe I would agree with that you might not, or whatever. So everything, again, it's not avoiding the question, but it's that interpretation of what is responsibility, what is social responsibility. It might work for one person, it might not work for another person. The thing with art is because there are no rules, it's always going to upset someone, but it's always going to delight someone else. So there's such fluidity there, and that is the beauty of it. It's not like science or maths or anything where there are hard and fast rules. There is that beautiful elasticity to it.
I was wondering about the career of an art critic just now when you were talking about it. I was like, if art is subjective, how are they ever going to, I guess, sort of make a proper assessment in terms of their...
And it's like film reviewers, theatre reviewers, all of these kind of things, isn't it? It's really helpful to have that outside eye. Of course it is. But it is one person's opinion. It is one person's opinion, and how we choose to attach to that is obviously our own responsibility as well. Because how many times have we seen a kind of film review and it's been shocking, and we've gone, oh, do you know what? I'm going to watch that because I want to see what's so shocking about it, you know. So it's only someone's opinion.
Yeah, and I think that's important to keep in mind in this day and age of like technology and social media. Absolutely,
especially when things are recorded now as well. You know, they obviously last forever. But I think, you know, as the artist and as the provider of that work, if you have been truthful, if you have applied your knowledge, your research, your talent and skill set to that role and to that production in the best way and most truthful way you can, then as an artist you can walk away and say, well, okay, if someone else doesn't agree with that interpretation of my performance, then that's their opinion. I think the story needs to be told, and it needs to be told in the right way. So I think it's a wonderful thing now that we are looking at diversity with a bigger pair of glasses, and we're not being so mainstream in some ways. It has to fit the story. Any form of casting does, you know, it has to make sense within the storyline. And if the story needs to fit around that, then that obviously comes down to whoever's funding that project as well there. But I do believe that, you know, it's coming back to this idea of, you know, we're all humans, whatever background, race, age, gender, whatever we are, we've all got that same element that we share. And it's just those little differences between us that means that stories can be interpreted in different ways. I do feel as artists that we can look further than just government funding. Mm-hmm. I really do. I think there are opportunities in approaching corporates, in philanthropists as well. You know, there are people out there, individuals who just want to support the arts. And that's where our professionalism, our research, our hard work all comes together in selling this great package to those people and getting them on board to support us. I think there's always something for every project. I almost want to brush your hair with this plant.
You want to brush my hair with that plant?
It's like a hairbrush.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Can I?
Yeah, sure. It actually feels a little...
Does it feel really good?
No, it feels not bad. It feels a little bit ticklish. It's like a soft massage, if you get what I mean.
Oh.
It's actually not bad.
Oh.
Yeah, it's quite good. I feel like we're going to start a trend.
Oh. Can I take it home?
Excellent.
Was that what you were expecting?
I think so.
Fabulous.
That was quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we were talking about improvisation, how does that as a concept speak to you?
Conceptually, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
Spontaneous fun. Yeah.
And so if I was to ask you to improvise a scene right now, how would that make you feel?
Probably a little bit nervous.
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think I'm great at improvisation. I don't think a lot of people think that as well.
And why do you think that is?
Oh, when I say I think a lot of people think that as well. I mean, like, they think that of themselves.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I think that's because a lot of people, especially actors and actresses, they don't have very high self-confidence. Actors are very vulnerable people, and they need to expose themselves, and improvisation is that.
So would, as an actor, do you need to expose you, or do you need to expose the character that you're playing?
Expose the character.
So that always helps with like a kind of confidence thing, I think, with improvisation, is that we're not actually going on as Angeline, as I have been talking to you here. You know, it's all of a sudden I'm just putting on another skin. I don't know what that skin is because it's improvisation. Likewise, in real life, I don't know really what I'm going to say next because it's spontaneous. So once we kind of start taking that fear away from impro, it becomes so freeing. To be a better improviser, again, I put a lot of things down to read, because the minute that you start picking up a book and looking at that text, you are creating those words as images, as sounds, as all these kind of senses in your own mind. And you're literally nurturing your mind and filling it up. When we watch screen, we're watching someone's interpretation. But when we're reading, we're creating part of that journey with us. We've got the author giving us the words, but we then put it into pictures ourselves. So reading would be a top one there. I would also say writing as well. So if improvisation scares the hell out of you, which it does for some people, try writing things down and give yourself a topic. So if we said blue cushion as a topic, write yourself a little monologue, time yourself, give yourself 30 seconds, whatever, get it all down, and then see what kind of comes from that there. And then also practice, join improvisation classes, get another actor who's a pal of yours together, and just do it. We need to take action. This is my real message here, that we need to take action as actors.
Thanks for hanging with us today, and thank you to Angeline for coming along.
Thank you very much for having me here today.
Don't forget to subscribe on the links below and check out Angeline's work on the links too. See you next time.